Welcome back to part 2 of my Sun Ce guide in Romance of the Three Kingdoms 14. In part 1 of the guide we looked at Sun Ce's opening moves. Part 1 involved securing Changsha before Liu Biao could get a foothold in eastern Jing, building up Changsha, building up Chaisang, securing southern Jing, which involved allying Shisi. We have hired any officers that were available, quite a few. We secured a few officers from Liu Biao, Sai Mao in particular. We also picked up a few of the spare Yuan Shu officers. Now we are going to look at expanding into Yang province, primarily Jianye and the cities that will follow from that. I'll be taking a look at the officers I'll be deploying, as well as alternative options that are available. I also want to make a point of that some of the officers have been moved around since the last video. I've skipped ahead about a month to 2 months to get officers in place, just so you can see what the domestics look like now. We have an officer over every corps. About 1,300 troops coming in here, 1,300 troops coming in there. No troops coming in here yet, but we are nearly ready to start recruiting in Southern Jing as well. In fact, I think I'll do that from the first week of September, and to make sure I've got an officer available to do that, I will send out what we needed. I haven't actually got any spare officers, but if anyone pops up between then, I will send them over. So we'll take a look here. Any spare officers? No. Any spare officers? No. So we are quite literally at capacity at this stage. So no point wasting any more time in build up, I should say. Let's get straight into looking at the officers that we are going to use to take Jianye. So, the corps, first of all, Sun Ce, Cheng Pu, Zhou Yu. Not going to be any surprises there. Just taking a look at Sun Ce first of all. In my opinion, he is one of the best officers in the game. A combination of his traits, his stats, his tactics, his doctrine, and his confidence. Taking a look at his traits. He has Brave Leader, which is fantastic for taking cities. It increases the siege ability of surrounding units. This is very useful for Goose Formation units, which will get a particularly strong boost, but also for Fish Formation units, which the bulk of your army will consist of. Other than that, Glory isn't massively useful. Heroic helps you get into more duels, which Sun Ce with his 96 strength will often win if he gets in them, and Dauntless, which prevents you from being restrained. He does have the Heedless trait, which causes Disorder tactics to have a stronger effect on him, something to keep an eye out for, but it's a minor negative versus against all the pros he has. His unique tactic, Tiger's Roar. It is an AoE damage tactic that will affect multiple units. It's quite strong. It's an offensive equivalent of Zhu Huang's tactic. It does AoE damage to units, doesn't affect cities, and it also boosts your assault stat. Other than that, he has Charge, Shout, Inspire. Neither of these are going to be particularly useful. And for naval warfare, he has the Expel and Storm tactics, which do come into play here. I'll boost the troops up to 4,000 and explain why in a moment. Cheng Pu, he has, before I go on, Fish, Arrow and Goose formation, very useful. Arrow on the defensive, Goose, probably not going to make much use of it as Sun Ce. However, it is handy if you have a front line of defensive units. Goose can wreak havoc there. But Cheng Pu, Water Warlord, Afferent and Calm, so he will never be confused, restricted if the supply line is cut off, which is very helpful if you play recklessly, which I think I occasionally do. And his tactic here, Afferent, means your other units aren't going to have their moral decrease quite as quickly, which is very good for long drawn out battles, especially in combination with Zhou Yu's trait, which we'll move on to shortly. His unique tactic increases your defense, like Iron Wall, and increases the morale of your allies, which won't be very useful because your morale is always going to be at max thanks to the trait of Cheng Pu and Zhou Yu. It's effectively Iron Wall, and if you get the Iron Wall tome that you can teach him manually, you might be better off using that as it has a shorter cooldown. Aside from that, Inflame and Rally. I'd stick to Wisdom's Fortitude. You're always going to want to use that. I always like Iron Wall, and because he hasn't got Iron Wall, I'll use Wisdom's Fortitude. Formation, Fish, Ring, Crane. Ring I'll use very occasionally if I've got several archers to support him. Other than that, Fish or Ram where needed. Now, Zhou Yu, another one of the best officers in the game, in my opinion. Fantastic stats. One of the highest intelligence stats in the game, solid charisma, politics, fantastic leadership and passable strength. He also has a fantastic selection of confidants, Sun Ce, Cheng Pu as we see here, Meng and Lu Su, which we're not going to highlight in this campaign, Huang Gai as well, which can also be quite useful. If we look at his offensive battle traits, Fire God means your fire tactics and fire attacks will always be successful. I don't use this a huge amount as I don't think the impact of fire is particularly strong, but it's there. The most impactful part of this trait is you'll never be damaged by fire, so Zhou Yu you can send manually to walk into all the different fire traps and set them off without taking too much damage. Glory, like Sun Ce, means that you will conquer more land in a smaller formation. Instead of needing 5,000 troops, well, instead of needing I think 6,000 troops, you only need 5,600 here to expand the range of conquer. Not particularly useful, but it's nice to have. Instrumentalist is a trait I very much like. It increases the morale of surrounding units, meaning you'll always be at maximum morale. Warlord means you'll always perform better in naval battles, and Rouser means that units get affected by restrained aren't going to be as effective as badly. So these are the three officers I'm going to build my army around. However, I do like to have a core of 4 officers, and my 4th officer yet who hasn't appeared isn't born yet or isn't of age. So we are going to need to look for our 4th candidate. So if we look at the officers we have from highest leadership stat to lowest, we have got Huang Gai, Lu Su and Sun Yu. In my view, there are 2 candidates here that will be particularly useful, Huang Gai and Sun Yu, and it'll depend on how you want to play. So if we look at the link tab, we can see these 3 officers are all supporting each other, so you'll get the maximum stats amongst all 3 officers. And if you want the next best option, you are looking at Huang Gai or Sun Yu, and I'll compare the 2 now and give advice on how you want to use them, who you want to use them. So Huang Gai, slightly higher stats in terms of his traits. He notably has the longbow trait, which increases his siege, has helmsman, which is very good for surrounding officers on enemy officers in naval battles, and he's less likely to be injured, very helpful. Sun Yu, he's a no-named officer at a surface glance, but he does have quite a high leadership stat. He does have a trait that gives him immunity to disorder, which is fantastic. If you ever used Chao Yun, you might notice how useful this can be. He also has the afferent trait, much like Cheng Pu, I think. Yes, does the same thing. Decreases how the rate at which your morale drops. Don't believe it stacks, but it won't be necessary. No special tactics other than the full range of naval tactics and Chukonu, which is useful for sieging cities as it does direct damage. So he's actually not a bad officer at all. And my choice as to 4th unit will either be Huang Gai and Sun Yu. If you're going to use Huang Gai, sorry, that's an awful mouthful for a video I'm narrating at the end of the day, which was perhaps a mistake. But if you are going to use Huang Gai, because he has longbow, I would use him in goose formation, which will bump his siege up at 4,000 troops to nearly what is that? 576, 323. That's nearly 9,000. If you're going to use Sun Yu, he's of course going to be in fish formation. But if you're using Huang Gai, Zhou Yu needs to be in fish. If you are going to use Sun Yu instead of Huang Gai, Zhou Yu is going to be your goose officer. But if we compare Huang Gai and Zhou Yu in goose, Huang Gai has the much higher siege, which is why I am going to be using Huang Gai. Simple as that really. But both options are very, very valid, and I quite like having Zhou Yu as the goose officer. It gives his transcendent fire larger range, and I haven't talked about that, I'll mention that in a second. But there isn't an incorrect choice. I am going to use Huang Gai, but it can be fun to use these lesser known officers, and Sun Yu, there's nothing particularly bad about him at all. So transcendent fire, it causes ignite in an AoE 7 tile range, and it applies all status elements for a longer duration than disorder would apply naturally. So this is one of the main reasons you want to use Zhou Yu. This affects cities, so you move Zhou Yu up to a city, hope this tactic takes place, and you'll take significantly lower damage than you would be if you were sieging a city manually. But there we are. And as I pointed out, if you're not using goose formation, it makes it harder to use transcendent fire, as the range of a tactic will depend on the formation you're using, i.e. are you in goose formation, which gives you an additional range, or are you in fish formation or other alternative formations. But moving on, so we've got these 4 officers here, which are going to be our core. We have 6,000 troops left in the city. What are we going to use to support these? Well, we are going to send out Du Ji, Sun Jing, and Da Qiao. So, Du Ji, Ministrant, Sun Jing, Ministrant, Da Qiao, Supportive. These 3 officers will give a massive boost to Zhou Yu, Huang Gai, Cheng Pu, and Sun Ce, which is why I'm going to be using those. Oh, and Huang Gai's tactic, this decreases maneuver and causes ignite. Never want to use this. Ignite. Zhou Yu's going to make sure everything's on fire anyway. I will always just use Chuko Nu for the direct damage. So, I will explain what to do shortly. I am going to deploy quite close to Port Niu Chu, not directly at the port, and you'll see, if this all goes according to plan, you'll see why. In the interim, I am going to send 4,000 troops, or 4,265 to round it off, and 20,000 or 25,000 supplies, why not, to Lujiang. If Yuan Shu decides to attack us, which he might once he sees Lujiang is very lightly defended, this should give us enough officers, enough troops to defend the city, what we have remaining. Other than that, I'm going to leave these cities to build up, and I will resume shortly. Occasionally you'll get pop-ups like this because Lu Bu's force has been destroyed. Chen Gong has decided not to join Cao Cao, and Cao Cao has decided not to execute him, so we're not going to complain. Li Feng, don't know who he is, but we do need the spare officers, so that's actually of a massive help. So, Huang Gai's taking the lead there. These 2 officers that have joined us are needed in the south. Why not send them down to Chaisan? There we are. So, Liu Yao hasn't deployed yet, but I am not going to give up on that. We are a smaller force, and where the AI sees that you are smaller and thinks you can, thinks they can beat you in a fight, they'll often deploy. So let's see if that does happen. I'm going to get in formation just in case, and let's hope we get lucky. And again, I'll resume once I see sign of life. Oh, something's happening, but because Liu Yao and Yan Baihu have gone to war, He's going the wrong way. That is quite annoying. I really don't think we want to fight Liu Yao on the land, because you see Tai Chi Si here, quite a strong unit in cavalry formation. I don't think we'll win, but if they come to us on the water, we can easily surround them, wipe out any unit that comes to us with our superior boat technology. So be right back once again. Oof. Okay, well, that is what a fire trap can do if you walk into it, which is exactly what Liu Yao has left for us. That is painful. That is very, very painful. Nearly 1,000 damage from that trap. Because the fire trap lowers your stats, I think it makes you take more damage, but I could be wrong. Either way, 1,000 damage from that fire trap. Incredibly painful. Okay, he's taken the bait, and he hasn't deployed Tai Chi Si. This is quite possibly the best scenario, because he sent these... Okay, I've got a judgment call to make here. These aren't fantastic officers, but because they've got so many surrounding corps, they are quite strong. I am actually going to pull back and see if I can bait them into the water. Yes, okay. This is a gamble, this is a risk, may not work, but we are going to try and get them to follow us. Okay, retreat, retreat, retreat. Is he reckless? Is he reckless? No, neither of them are. Are they going into the water? No. Okay. We keep pulling back. Are they going to come in? Yes. So he's going to come in there. I'm gonna hope this works. Okay. We might be in luck. This is very, very messy. I am aware of that, and I'm quite concerned. Sun Tzu and Cheng Pu at a very low troop count. There we are. And we've got them. So the good news is that we've taken enough, or we've dealt enough damage that we can hopefully take the city the next time we attack. However, 2,400, 600, 1,003, 3,000, they only show you still in good shape. It won't be enough to finish them off. Okay, so we've done significantly more damage to them than they've done to us. What I am going to do is retreat and try again. So I will resume when I have regrouped, and hopefully they haven't recruited too many troops in that time. So this is the scope of what we have by the time we've retreated versus the damage we've done. And here we are, the final piece of the puzzle. Not you. Not he's a bad officer by any means. Huh. That's unusual. Okay. Be right back. I need one turn to get things in place, and we are going to defend Lujiang, and we are going to send another assault out for Jianye. Okay, well this is worth pointing out. I am going to hire Zhang Liao. So, I won't actually be able to make much use of him on the battlefield, but he has level 5 fish, which gives me enough to 3, 2, 5 get level 10 fish, which is a fantastic boost. Not something you will usually be able to rely on as Sun Sir, but if the game presents you with the opportunity, by all means take it, like I am going to do so. If Wu has... if what's the quote? If Wei has Zhang Liao, I suppose Wu also has Zhang Liao. No Ganning though. So I've deployed the same army I deployed previously for round 2, which I think will be enough. I'm sending 7,000 troops over, and I am going to try something a little cheeky. We are going to have Zhou Tai and Quan defend the city. So we have 6,000 troops. At least we have very little. Let's see if this will work. So Quan will act as... No, wrong way around. Quan will act as bait. Zhou Tai, go for a little swim. Okay. This is very much risky, but swamp, 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 swamp. Unfortunate. Can't believe I got Zhang Liao, but let's see. The plan is for Jiling to attack Quan or Quan. My pronunciation for this name is atrocious. Oh no. That's not going to work. Okay, he's only come to take the core. Okay, in which case we will just retreat and take it back once Jianye is left. As for round 2, I think Sun Shao set up some traps. So why don't we go in through here? No, Zhou Tai, retreat. Why is he attacking? Ah, that was his path of retreat. Okay, well, you can get that before retreating. Here comes Lu Meng. It'd be quite nice to capture him. Lu Meng and Zhang Liao. Ooh, they had another trap there. And they had another trap here. Yep, this land is absolutely littered with traps. Even the water's on fire. So, Liao has one of those AIs that absolutely loves to set traps all over the place. Once Zhou Yu is recovered, I am going to try and move him towards Lijiang. It's very tempting to rush ahead for the city, but you do have to play this very carefully. If Taishi C comes out with 4,000 troops, he can absolutely wipe out these units without much effort at all. So, Lu Meng has come for us. I've got reinforcements on the way. So, why not send out some Quan, Jianye. 2,000 each. Yeah, why not? Over in the east, we're getting by. If we take a look at the stats, even without any cores supporting us apart from the port, they're not doing too bad at all. Come on, Lu Meng, come on. Stay out, stay out, stay out. Yes, I think we've got him. So, moving Sunshine in there. Zhou Tai in there. I think we'll be okay. Possibly. If not, Lu Meng's got about to 3 versus 1s, which can happen. As for the east, I need to get Lijiang there, have that built up, and then I can march for the city. But we're in good position regardless. So be right back. Is this gonna work? There we are. So Sun Quan's tactic there, it's a weaker version of Cao Cao's. Huh. Ah, there we are. Good old Zhou Tai. Much like in my Cao Cao playthrough, or guide. Oh, Zhou Tai lost. Having a bodyguard unit for very much this reason can be helpful. Didn't capture. That's a massive shame. Oh well. We didn't lose too many troops. 5, 10, 15. There we are. And some of them will recover as well. Nearly there. if I move you over there, move you in there. I always forget which of the two sisters are friends and married to who. So you are Sun Tzu's wife, good. So if I move you in there, you'll get twice the benefit. Both the friendship link and the supportive trait link. So I want you to go there, and there, and there. And I think if the game will let me... No, I can't build the camp there because there's already one there, but that will be changed shortly. And once again, just to highlight the importance of the friendship confidant links, we've got Zhou Yu here, 830 defense, 829 assault. Looking at Sun Tzu, 1200, 1200, 1100, 1100. Even Huang Gai's got a very, very respectable 1100 siege. This is all from the friendship links you get and the supportive traits and the ministrant traits. The more of these you stack, the better. I've just noticed Yuan Shu's coming for round 2 with a slightly bigger force. This will be no challenge at all, but makes the game fun. So, have I got anyone who'd be better off? Yeah, Zhang Liao, we'll get the morale back up in 2 turns. Am I still at the very basics here? Should have done that all along. Oh, I haven't appointed Zhang Liao. And the synergy Zhang Liao has with Sun Tzu's force is also quite good, because you notice both of the Might Doctrine only costs 2. So we've got 3 from Sun Tzu's boost all formation policy, 5 for Zhang Liao, 2 from Jianye. That gives us 10 in total. Which, if we had more slots available, would enable us. In fact, there we are. We've got 7 there, up from 6. Doesn't make any difference, but we've got 4 spare points plus 5 more once we rank up to play with. I'm going to wait for them to get closer before deploying and see if I can do a repeat in envelopment. Wipe out this 14, 18, 22,000 force. I just want to point out here, my supplies are dwindling quicker than I would like, but we are nearly ready to go. I'm going to build this camp. This will take one more time to build up. Lujiang is getting conquered. Lujiang is getting conquered, which is buffing up my officers quite rapidly. See, up to 1400, 1300 and 1200. Next turn the camp will be ready and we will be marching out. In fact, if I move you around, that should work out even better. As for the defence, we're going for 2 different directions. That's surprisingly clever for the AI. We'll give it one more turn. So if Ling continues south, let's have a look. He's just stood still, but I think I see an opportunity regardless. Are you reckless? No? No reckless officers. That's very unexpected of Yuan Shu. However, so Zhou Tai, so Quan, Jianye. So, fish, 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 all good. 3, 6, 9, 12, that'll be fine. That'll be fine. So, I will make a wall here. Jianye is reckless, so I have to be extra careful with him. But let's see if I can cut off. In fact, if I go there, attack. Let's see if this will work. The plan is for Zhou Tai to cut off this Li Feng officer there, wipe him out, move on to these three here, divide and conquer. Oh, no, come on, no, come on. Ah, that's not exactly what I wanted him to do. That's not worked out at all. Retreat back into the city. That is what caused that. I was not thinking. Right. In which case, we're just gonna rush for Jianye. Other than that, we, I think, are all ready to go. So all the action is kicking off at once. If I can get... oh, this could work even better. Zhou Tai sacrifice, not necessarily a waste. Okay. Oof. Didn't want that to happen. Okay. Straight ahead there. And this really does seem to be operating without fault. I'm even going to move the supportive units ahead. Hey, Sun Jing died. Oh, I missed that completely. Never mind then. Sometimes the city will use... let's volley. In fact, what it's done there, it'll use volley on you, it'll do an AoE damage attack and it'll wipe out your smaller units, but that's already taken place. So, nothing to worry about now. And the more units you have surrounding a city, the less damage they'll take individually, as it'll be divided up between them. Okay, you can see we're doing quite hefty chunks there. We're taking quite a lot of damage on Huang Gai, but he is melting through that city. Shirsi wants to renew the alliance. I need to slow things down here. Oh, too late. Now, what can happen and what I think is going to happen here, Tai Si, because he's out of the city, once the city falls, he will relocate elsewhere and not join us. As for what we've got going on here, Ling was wiped out. Okay, this is painful for Zhou Tai. He moves that. He moves that. Have I got... Yes. Oh, of course I do. Well, we're gonna find a use for Cheng Liao right here. I'll take it. That won't take 10 days. The screen lies, unfortunately. Let's slow this down. Oh, maybe not quite that slow. So we're doing 500 a tick. Cheng Pu's only taking them. Oof. There we are. There's the city gone. Chain tactic. Chukonu being very helpful. Apart from Tai Si not being there. So, let's see here. Not here. Having played this scenario a few times, what I often find happens is Tai Shi moves to another city and he gets picked up. Liu Bei, Yuan Shu, Liu Biao on occasion. And we've got them. I mean, it wasn't quite as smooth as I wanted it to be, but, you know, a win's a win. So, Zhou Chen, he has emptied it trying to take Lujiang. He's absolutely emptied it. Cao Cao, maybe coming for him. He's still got a fair amount of troops in Runan, which is going to be his holdout. Liu Bei still quite weak in Guanling. He may just hold on. But I will be back. No, in fact, no I won't. I need to explain what to do now. So, move all your officers into Jianye. Reward everyone you've just picked up. Hire absolutely everyone that's available. Now just do this one officer at a time. And over the next turn, because you have a very high intelligence advisor, you'll find most of the officers do join you. And just for the satisfaction of saying this little battle wrapped up. Oh, okay, it's not going as well as I thought it would. So you can see these units aren't as strong as the others, but Sun Quan's a fantastic officer. He's like a mini Cao Cao, and I will actually be using him to replace Huang Gai in the other army. He has excellent synergy with the other three officers that are at my corps, which I'll highlight shortly. So you can go there, retreat. You can attack him, then retreat. Continue to reward all the new officers, and probably be back in a few turns. Oh, I say a few turns, let's just watch this get cleaned up. I don't think Yuan Shu bounces back from this. Into prison he goes. Unfortunately, that has absolutely wrecked the development of Lujiang, as you can see. 5,000 population, 14,000. 9,000. Lujiang itself is untouched, as are the eastern provinces, but this isn't going to be my breadwinner anymore. Even the development levels, down to level 1, down to level 1, down to level 1. Fortunately, we have a very affluent city to replace this. This is even with that battle, the provinces are still relatively untouched. It's strange that he's managed to capture that there. So, what I am going to do, I am going to finish up hiring the spare officers. Sadly, we could not get Tai Shi, but if you carry out the event, you're guaranteed to get him, so there's a trade-off there. No Tai Shi. However, noticing that we're already 40 minutes into the video, I'm going to delegate my famous officers where they need to be, move officers around, get some supplies over from down to 10,000. That was surprisingly narrow. Get some supplies down from Lujiang to Jianye, and I'm getting a fantastic ratio. Oh, not going to spend that much gold. So if I can buy 45,000 supplies, I'm going to transport the bulk of those over to Jianye, and in the next video I think we'll be able to take Wu, Wuji and Jianan in quick succession. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you've had any thoughts about how I've been playing in this one, if you'd play a little bit differently, by all means leave a comment criticising me if that's how you'd like to comment. I welcome criticism. Otherwise, I hope this has been enjoyable or useful, and I hope you enjoy the next video to come shortly.